العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. After speaking to your principal, what I said is that the best format for this, because we've only got about an hour or maybe less than an hour to speak, the best format would be that we have a Q&A for the entire session on contemporary issues. Now, there are a lot of contemporary issues, and I'm sure a lot of you have had over the years questions about what's going on probably in the world, or what's going on with you, or with things that are in your mind. And this would be the opportunity to open up and to get the questions across. So I'm going to leave. I'm going to allow the principal to take the mic to probably whoever wants to ask the question, and then can I have your hands up, whether it's girls or boys, and we'll take a question from the girls and the question from the boys. Like that, we'll just rotate like that. So anyone putting their hands up about a contemporary issue that you had in your mind that needs discussion? But a boy at the back there. So we'll start off with that, inshallah, and then I'm sure as he's speaking, you're going to have other questions that are in your mind. So we'll get that done.
How can we ensure we're not led astray in this world full of distractions from the akhirah?
Okay, so how can you make sure that you don't get distracted from the akhirah? One of the best things that you actually need is you need companionship. You need suhbah. And the companionship of Muslims that are older than you in age, and they've been practicing the religion way longer than you, and they are firmly grounded in the religion. You need to be in their companionship. And when I say companionship, it doesn't mean that they have to always lecture you. You need to just be with them and live with them. That's how the Sahaba became the Sahaba. They stayed with the Prophet ﷺ. In fact, most of the time when the time they spent with him was in silence. There's only those moments that Rasulullah ﷺ spoke. But otherwise, they're with him. They're eating with him. They're standing with him. They're sitting with him. They're traveling with him. They observe his sabr and his patience. They have advice from him. Then they're able to go and visit the sick with him, and so on and so forth. So many things that they did with him. This is true companionship that changes us. So that's one of the strongest things that will keep you on the deen and not distract you. The second thing is to keep in contact with with books, certain books, and with the consultation from local ulama and local people who you look up to, your teachers and so on. They will teach you what books to read and have some kind of readership of Islam. And that will also keep your mind engaged in that. The third and final thing I would say is that you should have a set of things that you do of your Quran and your zikr, your adhkar, whether it's in the morning or in the evening, certain litanies that you have. If you can stick to that morning and evening, these things will ground you back again where you're supposed to be and your focus of the akhirah. Okay? One of the girls, please, hands up. Any contemporary issue, I'm sure you might have, whether it's social, political, financial, I don't know, about life, about youth. No girls? We've got a few boys with questions, so I'm giving a chance again. Any of the girls? Okay, let's go to one of the boys at the back over there. As soon as one of the girls is ready with a question, can you just put your hands up? I'll get the mic to you earlier while I'm even speaking. So think about anything you wanna ask. Okay, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, Ustaz.
Assalam.
I saw your flyer in Musalla, and I saw that you're qualified as an educational and developmental psychologist. Is that correct?
I've got a psychology degree, and I also am in education, yes.
Yeah. I also want to ask, would you recommend as a Muslim to go into the field of psychology, or would you say that there's a bit of questionable things that they're teaching there?
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. So psychology is a really interesting subject, and it's a very good, profound sort of subject. I've got a degree in education psychology. So psychology has many different departments you can go into. Now, you must ground your faith of Islam well in the ground, like as in Islam, before you go to psychology, especially if you go to philosophy or any other subject like that. Because what you're going to see is the Western psychology does not have any space for God and for religion more or less, they don't have any real space for it in that department. They may now and again discuss some parts of it, but really there's no scope for you bringing in your Islam and your Muslim faith and then trying to influence the Western psychology within their fields. Within their fields, there's not much of that. You won't find much ground of that. So you better ground, you better really be grounded in that. And then, if you want to take up a profession in psychology, whether it's child psychology, whether it's counseling, whether it's something else, first, and I'll tell you, I'll give you a bit of advice for a lot of you who really need careers advice. A lot of you now are making the choice, what are you going to go into? What are you going to become? Please don't go with what's popular out there. Just don't go with oh, my friend's doing this, I'm going to do that. That's not a way to choose a subject in the future. Don't go with what everyone's going into. Everyone's going to IT or whatever. Everyone's going to this field, let's go into that field. No. What you really need is, you really need to understand yourself first. You need to understand who you are first, right? And and if you can get good careers advice and a good career advisor, they'll sit with you. They'll find out what your brain is kind of thinking along and what your hands are good at doing. Probably do a quick test with you and then give you advice along that. But most importantly, you should look at the people who finished that subject, who graduated in that and who are in that field and they're working in that field. If you've got any way of finding those people, then they're the best people to give you advice of how it was. So let's say, for example, you want to go into child psychology, go and find, if you can, through the advice of your teachers, a child psychologist. And then go and speak to them and say, what are the things that you found? What did you study? What was it like? What was the ups and downs? What are the pros and cons? Because everything's got pros and cons, right? When I chose psychology, I didn't know that you really had to be well grounded in maths as well, because they've got stats, right? So I joined doing this program when I was about 29 years old. So my maths was like 14 years old or 13 years. So I had to go back and get my maths done, make sure that I'm grounded in that to get my psychology degree done. So there are certain things that you might stumble across in that might surprise you, but it's best to take the advice from that end and find out what you're expecting. But as a subject, it's really good. But you're not going to really find your faith in that field and for you to push your faith in that field. So make sure you're already grounded. And if you're doing it as a career, alhamdulillah, then you bring that, whatever you've learned, into the Muslim community, and then you can work as a psychologist. But while you're studying there, you're not going to find the faith that will be part of your learning. Another question? One of the sisters now, come on. One of the girls, you ready for a question? Yes, there's a hand up here. Yes, go.
What do you think one of the biggest problems that this generation is facing now, and how do you think that we could solve it?
Oh, thank you. So one of the big problems you guys are facing right now currently is social media and your smartphones. That's probably the biggest challenge you've got. And I'll tell you why. Because it's got so much going on in there, so much distraction in there, so many things in there. You're already falling into trouble. You guys I'm talking to right now, you're already in that trouble. So just the moment you open a TikTok account, the moment you've got an Instagram account, a Snapchat account, a Facebook account, I think you guys don't do Facebook, right? You do more Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, and possibly some of you getting a little bit older, you might do Twitter or something, but you're definitely on WhatsApp, right? That's also a social media platform. Now what happens is you guys are not ready for the world yet. You think you are. You think you are. In your mind, when I was your age, I thought, you know what, I can conquer the world. I can do what I want. And that's how young people start off with. They're very ambitious. They think they can do this, that. And you're very agile. You're very agile. You're learning things really fast. You're sometimes smarter than the adults around you. And when you say smart, when I say smarter, I mean smarter with this technology that's around you. So you kind of think that, you know what, I know it, man. I can do it. But then the thing that you don't have on your side is you really haven't tasted the world. You guys have not tasted the world. That's it. Full stop. Anyone here is actually paying the bills of the house? Put your hands up. Any student here paying the bills of the entire house? Put your hands up. Come on. No, don't fool me. Don't put your hand up. Don't fool me. You're not paying the bills of your house. Right? You're not working. You're studying. Right? When you go out there, when you go in the adult world, when you start working, when you start buying a house, when you start getting a family, when you start living with a family, when you start paying bills, when you get into real politics, When I say politics, I don't mean the politics on the screen. I mean politics in society, politics in the house, politics, domestic politics. You've got social politics. You've got politics in the community. When you start getting into that, and when you start realizing that, you know what, I'm just a fish in this massive, sea, and I can't influence everything that I want. I can't have everything my way. And you start realizing how the real world works. Then you start waking up and you start realizing that, you know what, the world's not so easy. At the moment, at the moment, your parents have paid everything for you. Your parents have paid everything for you. They've got the mortgage paid for you. They've got the bills, electricity bills, gas bills, the heating that you've got. It's all there. It's free. It's all free. You've got your mattress, you've got your bed, you've got your hot shower, you've got your, you've got your play area, you've got your holidays, you've got, your parents taking you from here to there, they're driving the car, they're paying for all the bills, all the transportation. They're making sure that it's all done for you. And you haven't seen the world yet. All you've seen is a world of TikTok, a world of Instagram, a world of this, a world of that, and you kind of think that you're ahead, of a lot of things, and you can, your world is at your fingertips. No, it's not. All right. That's why we've got a whole section of teenagers that run into huge trouble with anxiety when you get into social media. Why? Because what you haven't realized is where you are in this world. You're seeing the next person with this like and that follow, that many followers, that many likes, and that becomes your world. Well, that's not the world. This is an online world that is fake. Imagine, the people who are actually, they've got the followers, they've got the likes and so on. Imagine what the real life is like. Their real life is nothing like what they show on social media. No one. I don't care who you point out, right? Like for me, for example, right? What will you see of me? You're going to see of me, my YouTube videos. You're going to see I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter and so on. And you'll see me on a platform, always speaking from a platform. That's not my real life. That's my life on stage. That's my life in front of the camera. My real life, I've got a real family. I've got problems myself. I've got problems in my own life, in my community, in my world. I've got to deal with those things, right? I'm not the same person that you see here on camera. There's another whole world outside there that you don't see on the camera. What you don't see is, look, I'm going to tell you straight up. You don't see the sacrifices your parents made. You'll never understand them. You won't see, even if your parents are arguing. Let's say, for example, a couple of you, let's say your parents, they're arguing or they've got an argument going on. You won't understand it. You won't understand it because as you grow along, your mind changes, your psyche changes, your understanding changes. So let me give you an example, right? You guys are grade 9 to grade 12 right now. If I was to tell you right now, go and sit with the grade 6 out there and just sit with them and just be with them and be how they are. Would you ever do that? No, you wouldn't. You'd be with them, you'd play with them for a little while, grade 6 and grade 5 and so on, but you're not them. But you were them. You were them a few years back. And you completely understood them, but now you're more mature. And if you've got a brother or a sister or a sibling that is grade 5 or grade 6 or grade 3 or grade 2, you're going to look at them and you can think, when they're trying to do certain things, you say, I see right through you. I did that when I was at your age. I know what you're getting up to. I can see what you're going to do. It's like my two sons are home, right? My older son, he's catching my younger son, trying to hide the iPad underneath the pillow and go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, he goes up there and says, take it out. I know it's there, come on. So the thing is, when you're older, like this is just between you and grade 6 or your siblings that are at home. What about your parents? You've never seen the life of 30. You don't know what it's like to be 25. You don't know what it's like to be 35, 40, 45. There's a huge world out there that's waiting for you. And unless you get into that, you won't know what life is. Life hasn't even hit you yet. It hasn't even hit you yet. If there's even a relationship and so on, let's say that you look at, I'm going to get into a relationship with this person. You don't know nothing about life. You don't know nothing about relationships. You probably don't even know how to hold one. You're learning. And there's a lot of experience that you don't have on your side. And you guys, alhamdulillah, mashallah, you're agile, you're young, you've got hot blood inside you, you're ready to do things and you're ready to be active and so on. But what you don't see is, you don't have experience. Experience is something which you can't buy off the shelf of a supermarket. Experiences, you have to go through it in life. I remember one person said this. They said, you know what life is like? They said, in school, you're taught the lesson first, and then you sit the exam. In school, you taught the lesson first, and then you sit the exam. In life, you sit the exam first, and then you learn the lesson. In life, it hits you. The trouble hits you first. You're in the exam. You didn't even expect this. When you get adults, you're going to realize what this is, right? You get into something and then suddenly you're in a situation, it hits you. You haven't even learned what this thing is yet. And then you learn the lessons from it. You make mistakes, you learn from it. Like you youngsters, anxiety. Why should you have anxiety at this age? Because you're on social media. It's because you're doing, you don't even know what this thing is. This thing is a giant, it's a monster, it's going to eat you up. So you went into this, people who got likes and followers, you try to become like them, you want to become trendy, you want to get your followers. Now to get your followers, you need to do something. You need to get a video. You need to make it go viral. So now if you make a video of someone just your normal life, it's never going to go viral. But if you make something stupid, it's going to go viral. You make something that is, nobody's ever done, it's going to go viral. So go and do something stupid. And yeah, I've got the likes. Or even if it's not stupid, you've got to find something like a prank or something that you're going to do, which everyone's going to say, wow, do you see what you did there? Something risky. So you're going to take a risk to do something on social media. Right? And when you do it and you post it and you get your likes, it's like, wow, now you're in a serious trouble. Why? You don't know how to handle this. So you got all those followers, you got the likes, but do those people really, really like you? No, they don't. They don't like you. They like the fact that this thing is going viral. Everyone's talking about it, so they want to be part of the talk, they're part of the chat. They don't care who you are. If tomorrow you were to fall down and break your leg or something, instead of helping you up, they probably film you and get likes from you. Of that video of you breaking your leg. They'll be more interested in that than helping you and seeing how you are, right? So these followers, likes, they don't really mean anything. Now that you got your likes and followers, what are you going to do? Right? You're in a competition. Now you've entered a lane. So that person got this many likes, that person got this many likes. Now if you don't do something, followers are going to go away. Now when followers go away, your likings are going down. So now you're feeling, oh my God, I'm losing all of this. Well, who told you to enter that lane in the first place? And even then, after when you've entered that, what happens? People get jealous. Now you've got a whole another problem. This is life. You became famous for something, whatever it is, or you became known, or you had something, you got some possession of something that other people would like to have. You're going to find jealousy. Jealousy amongst some of your friends. Jealousy amongst the people who know you. Jealousy amongst the people around you. And that jealousy leads to them bullying you or saying some things to you that are nasty, that shouldn't be said. And then it leads to, either anxiety or other troubles and so on. But look, hey, I'm not here to give you a whole lecture on social media here right now. But what I'm trying to say to you is that the question was asked about what's the biggest thing that you've got at the moment. There's a challenge. It is, I think, for you guys, social media. But there's another one coming bigger than that. And I think by the time you guys get into your 20s, it's going to hit the earth full face. Even the adults are worried about it, which is AI, artificial intelligence, which has been around for a bit of a time. But this artificial intelligence is taking the form and shape of something which even the humans, even the best in the field of Silicon Valley, even the guys like Elon Musk and others who are creating robots and AI, even they're scared of what the world might become. So they had a meeting I think it was just 2 weeks ago. They had a meeting amongst the top tech departments in Silicon Valley with Biden in the White House. They were summoned and they were told to stop their progress and whatever they're doing in artificial intelligence world, because they just don't know what kind of a monster it's going to be. It's going to take the world by surprise. The Chat GPT, which is the fourth one, it's so sophisticated, it's so advanced that they're worried. They're worried because right now already lawsuits are coming out. People's content that was copyrighted for 30 years has suddenly been used by ChatGPT 4 without them even realizing a computer has used it, right? Taken it straight from the internet within seconds, taken so many other videos and contents and so on, and created something and given it to someone who just used it, just did a little search, right? Now that's your copyright content. And they've had it for 30 years. So they now want to do a lawsuit. But who are you going to do the lawsuit with? With a computer? With a machine? Like, who are you taking to court? The designer, the guy who did it? Well, he's going to say, I'm not responsible. Now, that's just one aspect of it. There are huge things that are coming. Like another part of it is the data. The data, which is people's data, people's personal information is going to be used. It's going to be taken out there. And it will take you by surprise, because this machine is taking from anything it finds on the internet it can get hold of. And it can just put it together and it can create something which me and you can only create after 30 years, after 40 years, after a lifetime, right? So you give it something like you can say to it like, I want to create something. Like, let's just say, for example, you guys even studying here, even the educators are worried. Like people are already writing essays and they're writing, whole sets of, things that they should have really done with the human mind. They're making the AI do it for them, ChatGPT do it for them. Now, what they did is the teachers got a little bit clever, so they then use another ChatGPT to find out plagiarism in this ChatGPT, right? And then this ChatGPT, the first one, got even more clever, and now it designs and does it such a way that you can't even find if it's plagiarism or not. I mean, it's moving so fast this only came out in November. And it's already taken the world by surprise and they don't know where it's heading. So I think AI is going to be a real game changer in the world. And I don't know how it's going to hit this generation in front of me, and I don't know how it's going to hit the next generation. I don't know how it's going to hit my own generation. I don't know. But it's going to be way worse and more sort of, I think, it's going to take us way by more surprise than the social media that we've got. Now, the second part of the question is, how do you actually, do something about this? So the thing is, if you're on social media, the antidote to that is that you better get into the real world. And the whole of these smartphones and so on is an online world. And you better start controlling yourself. You've got to be smarter than the smartphone. If you're not smarter than the smartphone, it's going to enslave you. Phones have enslaved people. Just like drugs is an addiction, right? And you've got alcohol as an addiction, gambling becomes an addiction. The new world addiction is smartphone. There are adults addicted to it. There are teenagers addicted to it. There are youngsters addicted to it. And then it takes you, like basically the phone controls your mood. The messages are coming in that you sort of have to follow them because you're on those apps, you're on those platforms. And then you're trying to keep up with it. But then it's controlling your life because you're spending 3-4 hours on the smartphone. You can't do anything else but what's on the phone. You have to give it time. And this is serious because life is not on the online world. Life is outside the online world. Akhirah, think about the akhirah. Akhirah is when we make something in the offline world. Like you do your ibadah, you focus towards Allah Azza wa Jalla, focus towards Allah Azza wa Jalla and have that attention and devotion and so on. How are you going to create all of that if you've been sucked in with the machine and you're a slave? And when I say a slave, I mean a slave. Because if something dictates, that if something without you managing to control yourself controls you. So first thing in the morning you get up, and first thing in the morning you start looking at messages. You start looking at your apps. You start looking at your smartphone. Last thing at night, you're doing the same thing. In between the day, several times you're doing it. As soon as you're doing Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, phone's out. All right? Phone, smartphone. And because it's not just a phone, it's a computer. It's a supercomputer. Like 20 years ago, what some Mac would have been, that's what you've got. Or 15 years ago, that Mac is right in your phone. It's all in your phone, in your smartphone. So if you're a slave to it, you're going to get sucked into it. Now, how do you get out of it? Well, the antidote is go back to the offline world. Go and get into your adhkar, get into your Quran, get into readership. What I said is to that young man over there is that companionship. We need companionship of elders around us who are not addicted to these things. Let us be in their gatherings with them and slowly wean ourselves off of this. And like I said to you, we've got many other challenges, but this is just one great challenge. There's a sister at the back. She had a question. There's a girl at the back somewhere in the middle of this thing. If you put your hand up again, you can ask the question. Go on.
Do you have an ethical responsibility to help all of the issues that you see, like on social media and stuff, like with the Ukraine thing or like the homelessness and all that?
Okay, thank you. So the thing is, as an imam, as a person who's trying to look, politics and Ukraine and what's going on in there is not really it's not my field. I can understand parts of it, but I won't understand the in-depth part of what's really going on, because politics is huge. It's huge. Once you grow up, look, you can get into politics and get into what's going on. Let's just take, for example, the Russian and Ukrainian sort of war. It's not just Russia and Ukraine here. It's not just them. It's the West and East that are here. You go deep into it, you'll see. You got to go deep as 100 years back and understand what happened with communism, what happened with democracy and social the liberalism that you've got, and then the democracy that came along. There's something deep. Some of the things I might say might go straight over your head right now. But what you're going to look at is you're going to look at not just two leaders, not two nations. There is a whole thing about it's not just the bombs. It's not just the killing of people. There is a whole economic war in the background of the goods that are underneath the ground. There's a whole of that. There's a whole thing about trying to extend your territory, yes, but there's also defeating your enemy's mind. There's a whole thing about that. There's a whole thing about alliances. So who's Russia aligned with? Who are their alliances, and who's America's alliances? And they've got their own interests, and they've got dealings between themselves and their territories and what they've been doing from beforehand. Now, if you really want to get into this, you have to get into political science and understand that. Even me, I'm just swimming very shallow on the surface of it. It's really deep when you get into it, and you find out what really going on. Not only that, there's a media war. I don't know if you guys know this or not. Media is something that is influencing our minds. But if you keep on listening to the media outlets out there, you could be fooled. You could be fooled. Why? Because it's one narrative that's from certain people at the top who've hijacked a massive portion of the media. I'm talking about 90% of the media of the world, hijacked by a few people that are controlling it. And they are being paid by certain governments to give a narrative through that media. Whoever gives them the money, whoever gives them whatever, they will make sure me and you, our minds are influenced by bombarding us with certain information. So even the information we've got, we're talking about it, but we're only talking about it from the narrative that was given to us, from the script that was given to us. Now, I'm sorry if I'm going above your heads right now, but you know what? There's a huge world out there. Now, ethically, what do I do? The sister's asking that. Now, the thing is, look, I've got my own things to do. Please remember, you will not be able to solve everything that's in front of you. You will not be able to do that. You won't be able to solve, definitely we can't solve the world's problems. On my own, definitely, it's impossible. With all of us collectively, it's still impossible. But what can we do? We can influence what's in our area of influence. That's most important for us to remember. So, for example, I can influence myself. I can influence myself. So that I should never forget. What's the point of me talking about the world's troubles and trying to influence that when I'm not even changing my own character? When I'm not doing anything about my own self? I've got this bad habit of, snapping out, and bad habit of this and that, whatever I do, of my attitude and so on. I'm not even caring about that. And I'm talking about, over there, look, over there. That's a very human weakness that we have. So my area of influence first is about myself, and I should try and, do something about that. Then my area of influence is my family, my immediate family. I can do things there. My area of influence are my friends, right? Don't forget that. My area of influence as you grow up is going to be your immediate, area, the way you live in, your neighborhood. You can do certain things. But the area of influence in yourself is the greatest. Then you lose some percentage in your family and friends. So your area of influence, how much can you influence them, drops down. How much can you influence the people around you? It slightly drops down. You're now to about 60%, 50%, and so on, of what you can do in your neighborhood and so on. But then as you go wider, and as you go further out, you will see that your influence is going to drop down. All right, a lot more. Okay, so let's be honest with ourselves and say, what are those areas that I've got in my life that I can definitely influence? Work on that. For example, people think that, I've heard this on my travels, right? You guys are sitting here and you're just teaching the Quran and just and so on. Yes, which is fine, which is good, but the world is burning out of the world. This is happening, that is happening. The thing is, hang on a minute, my friend. Tajweed is also very important. Teaching people Quran is as fard as to try and put the fire out outside there in the world of politics. We understand that, but this is something which also has to happen. And there's a beauty in that person staying where they are and trying to do their work in their own little area of influence. Allah's not going to ask me on the Day of Judgment, why didn't you go and stop this war, that war? That's not. Allah's going to ask me straight up, Where was your salah? Where was this? The immediate things that I should have done. Where's your huquq and the rights that you had over your wife or your, for a sister, over a husband, over your children, over your next of kin? What did you do there? Because you definitely had, you had your way of having your influence there. So Allah's going to ask me those questions first. So get your priorities right, and then if you've got all those in place, then go out there and try and do what you can as influence, inshallah. So let's have the next question. One of the boys.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamu.
I got a simple question, but how do you get confidence?
How do you gain confidence? Okay, how to gain confidence is the first thing is that you've got to surround yourself with people of confidence. Okay, you've got to surround yourself with people of confidence. Find those people, or start learning from them of how they act and how they behave. Right. The other thing is that you need to sharpen your own mental there's a mental strength that we have. Right? And you can sharpen it slowly by slowly. In Islam, there's something called Iman and Yaqeen. Iman is belief, but then Yaqeen is conviction. It takes time to get to conviction, but once you get there, you're absolutely certain you're going to do what you're going to do, or what you believe. So confidence is that, which is you take it step by step. Look, don't try and think that, I want to be confident enough to get this massive achievement. No, take the modern day psychologists, what they say is that break it down to the smallest step you can, and then conquer that. The smallest step, even if it's the smallest step, and you want to break it even smaller, break it to that, and get that done, and then get the next things done, and the next thing done. For example, I'll give you a different example. If somebody wants to go out there and get like a six-pack, they want to go to the gym and they want to do all that, they look at someone and think, I want to go to the gym, I want to get a six-pack like him, I want to train every day for this many hours. Look, you're not going to just do it overnight. You're not going to get a six-pack overnight. So what do? Start off with the little exercises that you don't miss. So, you can do 10 push-ups, you can do 10 press-ups, you can do 10 whatever. Even if you can't do 10, let's say 10 push-ups is too much for me. Start with 2, start with 3. Right? And then say to yourself, okay, from 3, I've got to go to 4. Start with the small ones, okay? Start with small. Let's say I can walk, I can run for a little while. Okay, let me get that in place. Before I hit the gym and start doing all this weight training, whatever it is, even when you go to the gym, you don't want to start with the big weights straight away. No, you don't. You start with the little ones. Start with the little things you can do. And then after that, slowly, you build yourself to the bigger weights. And then you're now doing 2 hours, 3 hours. In the beginning, you can't do 2, 3 hours. Your body's not going to allow it. You only can do like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and then still your body's aching. So same thing with courage or anything you want to get in this life. Start with the smallest thing you can, gain that, and then go for the next thing. Let's have the next question, please.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa salam. Yeah.
How do you refrain from listening to music?
All right. So music. Look, the thing about music is guys, pay attention, right? So music. Look, first thing is, what is the music doing to you? And the reason why people listen to music is because it kind of soothes them down, puts them into a trance, and it kind of resonates one part of their emotions with the music that you're listening to. Usually that's the case. So for example, if somebody is hot-headed and they're going to listen to heavy metal music, they're going to be like, yeah, bro, that's it, yeah. If somebody is in their 60s and they're in the 70s, and they're just feeling like, 60s and 70s, they want to just relax. And they listen to classical music. What does that do? That resonates with the emotion inside them of just relaxing. That's all they're doing. Somebody's young, they want to dance, right? They want to move their hips and so on. They're going to listen to pop music. They're going to listen to other music that's going to make them, R&B or whatever. Someone's in love, and they're going to listen to a love song because it's really going to make sense to them because they're in love. So what music is doing is, music is only resonating with an emotion that you have inside yourself, and you really feel like listening to it because it's kind of making sense to you and it's kind of hitting the right part inside your mind. However, is music needed for that? That's the big question. Is music needed for that? And the answer is no. You can control your emotion, and you need to be like one of the reasons why ulama were very, very, they said that you shouldn't listen to music. One of the reasons why those ulama said that is because the music then can dictate your emotions. That's the big danger. There are music, the musical instruments, and certain songs and things that can be played with musical instruments that will actually influence your mind. It's a danger that they saw. Like you start playing, like I'm not saying that we do this right now, right? But you start getting in this hole, you start playing, R&B and soul and so on, and you start playing a certain thing of, people, young people, sort of, the hip hop type of music. You start playing that, people will start getting into a certain mood. You'll see right now in this hole, they'll be like in a different mood whatsoever. You look at people, certain war veterans. They wanna go. They're in this. Look, I'm being serious here. This is real, okay? They're war veterans. They're in the army. And they've been told to go out there in a jet and to kill and to destroy a town. And the guy, obviously, what do you think of? You think straight away of the humans that are on the ground. So he's probably feeling, I don't want to go out there and just kill those guys on the ground. I just don't. What do? They play a certain type of music that is to do with anger. Raw anger. And when they listen to that, it makes them feel angry. Then they go out there and they blow up this place without them even thinking. What they've done is they've shut out this other emotion of having empathy for and sympathy for these people. And that's what music can do to you. So it's quite dangerous in that sense. That's why the ulama said that music should not be listened to, because it can move your emotions. Like somebody who who wasn't into, let's say, obscenity, they listen to certain types of music, is going to drive them towards that. Some people who weren't, having the attitude of, trying to be proud and arrogant and, trying to overpower others. You listen to certain types of music, it's going to take you to that. You listen to certain type of rap artists and so on, and what they say, and they swear in those things, and you listen to that, then you kind of feel this thing, yeah, I want to be big, yeah, I got it, They just feel like that. The music is actually moving them in that direction. Right? And then what happens is that you embrace their culture. So those people who are out there saying that, they've got chains around their necks. You hang around too long, listen to that music and being with those people, you're going to get chains, you're going to get rings, you're going to be like them, you're going to have the attitude like them, you're going to want to be big and tough like them. And that's what it does to you. So what's the alternative of that? The alternative of that is actually the Quran. The alternative is the Quran, but you've got to know how to use the Quran. The Quran that you use is not just reading the Quran and that's it. No, you got to know, if you get into the meaning of the Quran, just stop there. Just stop for a little while. Go and open a tafsir. Go and look at the meaning of a certain ayah, a few ayats. Go and just quickly read through the tafsir. And then read with slow tartil, read those verses and absorb them. There's a whole new world that will open for you. Right? So why do you think Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was told early on, in one of the earliest revelations came down in Surah Muzammil, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was told, Ya ayyuhal muzammil, O one who's wrapped up in love, qumil layla illa qalila, stand up in the night except for a small portion where you won't be standing up. Nisfahu aw inqus minhu qalila, probably half the night. Or maybe drop down a little. أو زد عليه. Maybe sometimes increase it. وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا. And recite the Quran in a very steady manner. Tartil. Now when you recite the Quran tartil and you start looking at what you're reading and absorbing it and your mind gets into, you know what happens? You're now opening a new part of your body. Music open the ego, the self-desires, the selfish desires. Music will open all of that for you. The Quran will open your ruh. It will connect your soul to Allah. But you got to do it with your voice, your tajweed, your tune. Take it easy, absorb the meaning, start reading, and then let it sink in. And when you do it, you know what? There's nothing more beautiful than that. Another one is to do the dhikr of Allah. To just do the dhikr of Allah. Just do the dhikr of Allah. In fact, I think on the internet, there's one of my dhikr reels on YouTube. Right? And there's quite a lot of comments on there. Some of those comments are like they've stopped listening to music because of dhikr, because of listening to the dhikr. And that is an alternative. So the alternative to music is the Quran, is dhikr. And then you don't need music. You don't need it at all. Straight up. Okay, let's have one of the girls ask questions. There's some girls over here. One second, yes.
I've got a question from one of the girls here.
Yep.
The author, they're asking about the whole notion of dating and that prospect of someone's promised to you, or they promised a relationship and something goes sour there. So that topic.
Okay, let's yes, good. Let's discuss it right now. So guys, I need you silent. I need you silent here if I'm going to discuss this. There's some of you already thinking of who you already proposed to, you know what I'm saying? Like, guys, look, calm down. I need silence. Look, I need silence. Boys, what I'm gonna cover, it will be interesting for you. So just listen on. The thing is, look, what do you know of each other right now? Young boys, young girls, you've seen someone that you like. Okay, whether it's a boy that's seen a girl that they like, the girl's seen the boy that they like, and then you've had some chit chat, and then you said, okay, you know what? You know, can you just hang on for me? You know, I'll be your Romeo. I'll be your Juliet. You know, I'll be your Majnun. I'll be your Layla. Okay, right? Okay, so now look, guys, calm down, right? What is it based on? What is it actually based on? What is based on right now is you've seen. Okay, I'm gonna actually use the word Majnun and Layla to make it easier, right? Because I don't want to actually use actual names. It might be your name sitting here. Okay, I'm sure no one is called Majnun here anyway. Right? All right. So Majnun and Layla in this school, all right? And Majnun says, you know, wait up on me. What does Majnun know about Layla? Majnun sees Layla happy in a school, all right, dressed in this uniform every single day, and Layla sees him in the same way, all right? Layla's needs are all looked after. Majnun's needs are all looked after by Majnun's parents and by Layla's parents, all right? That's the reality. Layla does not, at this moment, look after herself entirely. This is the truth. Majnun doesn't look after himself entirely. This is the truth. Majnun comes with his hairstyle, with all of that. He comes with his, you know, flamboyant attitude. She comes with a bit of makeup, whatever. She comes by walking like a little cat, whatever. They love each other. They love each other for that reason, because she's so beautiful. And if I was with her, my world would be, you know, it would be, and if she thinks if he was with me, it would be the perfect Bollywood and Hollywood getting married together. There'd be no more sad days ever. If I just look at her smile, it just melts me. If he just talks to me, just looks at me once, I'm just like a flower on the ground to be picked up, right? So, but what you don't know, oh guys, sorry. What you actually don't really think about is what's life. This is not life. This is not life. Even when somebody dates. Now, dating is not halal. Before marriage, dating is not halal. Straight up. All right, I'm telling you. But let's just talk about the dating. What happens on a date? On a date, the guy comes out in his best clothes. She comes out in her best clothes. The guy comes out with his perfume, with his perfect smile. She's also as well. He makes sure that he's not even going to burp in front of her, right? She's going to make sure that there's no gas leak from behind. You know what I'm saying? Like, right? So they're perfect to come out on the perfect night, perfect environment, ambient environment. They're going to have a dinner together. It's so romantic. They've got a candle there. Oh my God, this is not life. This is not life. This is a date which is, you have now taken out hours to become perfect. This is not you. This is not you. You are now showing your personality. It's not your character. Now, again, I'm going to break up this. What's personality? What's character? Personality is when we perform in front of one another, right? That's personality. Character is who you are in your real self, in your real world. So let me give an example. There's a telephone company. There's a receptionist over there in the telephone company, and they start taking the phone. They say, "Hi there, Gareth. How are you? Everything all right with your bills? Okay." And then the Gareth on the other end is like, "Yeah, I'm not really happy with this company. I want to complain." "Okay, Gareth, I understand you. Just take it a little bit over there, right? And we'll get down to whatever it is." The Gareth, like, you know, he's like effed and whatever and angry and this and that. And she's trained. She's trained as a receptionist on this telephone company to say, "Okay, I understand, Gareth. I really sympathize with it, but your bill's got to be paid by the end of the day, and you have used these units, and you know they're got to be paid. I really understand. I know the economy is not really good." She's going to say all of that, and he's like, he's shying on the other end. She's going to be very professional, very good, nice, right? What was that? That was, let's say her name is Sue, all right? Sue was basically performing in her telephone company because she's working for a job. The same Sue will go home. When she's go home, She doesn't talk to her mum like that. She doesn't talk to her sister like that. She probably goes home, throws her shoes in the corner, goes out there, does what and someone talks to her. She might talk in her real self. Or you might be a gentleman who's been working all day. You're trained professionally to perform a certain way. That was your personality. When you go home, you're like, yeah, bro, what's the matter, man? Yeah, just go and do it, innit? Just do it, innit? That's how he really speaks. But you never heard him. Majnoon, when he comes in front of you, he goes, I'll do it for you. It's like another world. The guy's not showing his character. You're not showing your character. You're dating. You're showing your personalities, right? Everything's perfect. Everything's perfect. Look, you got no bills to pay. You got no issues. You got no problems. What happens? End of the day, look, end of the day this happens. 8 o'clock comes, 9 o'clock comes, Majnoon goes to his house, Layla goes to her house, right? And then Majnoon's problems over there in his house, her problems over there. And then when you get together, you know what you do? You get together and you say, oh, my dad's so strict. It's, yeah, my dad's also so strict. Oh, my dad doesn't want me to. Yeah, my dad's like that as well. And you're basically complaining about what's going on in the houses, and you resonate with one another. Oh, my mom's this, and my dad's this, and my sister this, and my brother this, and my world is like this, and in my world also I've got these problems. And you kind of, like find each other's solution. If I was with you, I would become the solution to all your problems. Right? No, you're not. No, you're not. Right? Let's be straight up. You probably become the biggest burden once you get together. Right? Because I'll tell you what happens. Let's be straight up, right? Straight up. What happens? Now imagine, right, after all this sacrifice, because I've done, look, guys, don't think I'm making some trash up, right? I'm not joking. I've actually done nikahs of people who've dated, and I've said, look, come on, guys, get the nikah done. They were young, they were together and so on, and they're, okay, fine, they've done it, they live together and so on. But when you live together, then you see each other's character. Then you see the real Majnoon and you see the real Layla. Now let's get real. I'm going to get real right now. Now please, forgive me for saying this, right? I'm going to get real. Things I'm going to say, I don't want to put you in a stereotype. I don't want you to make you feel and say it's the right, but this is reality. Okay, now you've been married for 2 years. You've been married for 3 years, 4 years. Okay, you're married together. You're 26 years old now. You got married at 22. She was 22, you were 22, whatever. Or maybe 20, you got married, whatever it is. You're 26 right now, okay. Right, what's life like? Honeymoon period is over. All the niceties are over. All the balloons are gone. They've been popped, right? All the decorations gone. Walima, nikah, all are gone. All families have met each other and, oh yeah, we're going to have little Majnoons. We're going to see little Laylas. All that conversation is over. Now's the time to get real. Okay, what happens? Okay, you now got your own son. You got your daughter. Well, let me talk real talk. That kid is crying all night. Someone's got to sit up all night and sit with the kid. That kid's got snot coming out of his nose. That kid sits on your lap and is pooed. Right? And it's real. And you've cleaned the nappy for the 100th time, 200th time, 300th time. It's pooed in a way that you tied the nappy, but then the poo came straight up and it got all onto your clothes. Right? Okay, that's just one little part. That's one part. That's life, guys. Come on. Right? The kid's ill. The kid's teething. The kids are having problems going through, and they have the smiles. Look, the kids are cute, don't get me wrong. Kids are cute, you have the cute moments. What do you guys see when you see your little kid, your little nephew? And you only carry them when they've already been cleaned, when they've been polished, when they've had all the powder on them, when they smell so nice. You pick them for a little while and you give them back to their mum. You don't see the other side of it. Okay, now let's talk about Majnoon later. Who's going to cook? Come on, who's going to cook? Who's going to cook every day, right? And now you're going to start pointing fingers. And you cook. No, you cook. No, you're going to do the cooking. I did the cooking yesterday. No, you're going to do the cooking. Come on, bring it on now. Come on. Who's going to clean? Who's going to do the washing? Who's going to clean the house, right? Is it going to be Majnoon? Is it going to be Layla? Are you going to do 50-50? Are you going to fight over it? Is it your territory? He said, now Majnoon's going to say to you this. He's going to say, listen, darling. I love you, yeah. But listen, darling, yeah. I'm going out there and I'm working out there like 9 to 5. I'm a little tired and I'll come back, this and that, right? And she's like, yeah, but you're going to help me, whatever. Or she's probably working as well. I don't know. Or what are you going to do when you come back home? Are you going to order takeaways? Are you going to order restaurant food? How long are you going to do that for? Right? Someone's got to get cooking. Now, when you cook, you know what? There's a lot of mess out there. Right? What about if your cooking is not nice? What about if his cooking is not nice? What are you going to do? What about the moods? The moods are going to come up. Right? You've got emotions, you've got moods. What about you wanting to relax? And you couldn't relax. And then there's family politics. You've got all this family politics around you. You haven't hit life yet. You don't know what life is yet. Now, suddenly, Layla is no longer the lovely Layla that I saw. Majnoon is not the handsome guy that was, I'll sort out all your problems for you. No, you're not. You're not doing it. Suddenly, your eyes open. Now, before life hits you, you better know what actual relationship is. Even I'll tell you this. Marriage is one thing where we state, where we're together. And people say this. People say that, oh, why do married people have, problems and so on? No, it's not that. The question is not about married people. If you were to really stay with Majnun and Layla in a real apartment without marriage and you stayed together in a house, in the same accommodation, you would have the exact same problems as the married people. Why? Because human beings, when they live together in a space, they discover their character. They stop discovering their personalities. Now the real self comes out of you. Who's that real self inside you? What about your stubbornness, your harshness, your arrogance, your pride, your jealousy, right? Your thing of wanting to sort of backbite people and so on. What about all of that? What about that? Who's gonna deal with that? You don't even know about it. You haven't even discovered it yet. But when you discover it, you'll see what it is. There's a lot of things about men and women, the boys and girls you are today. We are two different, we operate very differently. We need each other, but we like the night and day. We are the opposite of each other. Yet you have to be able to look. They say it's easy to get married, but it's very difficult to stay married. Okay? And it's easy to sort of have a relationship. It's very difficult to keep that relationship going on for good. That's why people who date, they keep on breaking up. Why? Because they got close together, and then after that, I don't want to be with you anymore. I don't like you, this and that. They break up and then go with somebody else. Now, of course, obviously you're doing haram. You're committing zina, which is another punishment left, lying for you in the akhirah if Allah doesn't forgive you. But the thing is, you doing all of that, when you get close and you understand one another and you see each other's characters, you don't want to be with each other. So what did Allah say in Islam? I'll tell you the beautiful thing Allah said. Allah said, look, what dating does is, dating really takes the life out of you without you even hitting the ground. Because look, dating is really bad for you from one perspective. I want to say to you, I want you to understand this. What happens is, in dating, you're going to be able to be with one another, close to one another. You're not sharing all the responsibilities, but at any one point, one person can walk away from the other. All right? As soon as you decide, I want to walk away, you walk away. Marriage is different. Marriage says, okay, come together, but when you're together, there's no walking away. Allah is telling us, look, you're going to be committed to this person. Do your homework beforehand, that's fine. But once you're committed to this person, and you discover something that you don't like about them, Allah tells us, well, now deal with it. Now carry the burden. Be responsible. Try and live together in peace. Find a solution. Find a way to, make them understand, or you understand, you compromise or they compromise. That's what marriage is about. Marriage is where we get together, we say, okay, I've got married to you, you've got certain ups and downs I don't like, but there's few things I love about you. But I'm going to try and learn how to put up with your few things, or I'm going to ask you to change those bad habits, and I'm going to change my bad habits too. That's marriage. That's marriage. Now, you can't do that when you're dating. Nobody does that when they're dating. No one's got no contract going on. Marriage makes you come together. There's a whole society knows that you got married. Now there's a shame if you walk away and if you have divorce. There's responsibility. Marriage is responsibility. It's like, I take on responsibility for this person. That person says, I take on responsibility for that person. Right? And I'll give you one tip before we finish this question. Right? And it's a way to make sure that you don't actually argue with whoever you get into in the future. Because I know, inshallah, bi'idhnillah, 10, 15 years time, all of you will be married, inshallah. Maximum 20 years time, all of you should be married by then, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. But let me give you a tip. The tip is this. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, rahimahullah, he was asked a question, right, after his wife passed away. His wife passed away, and they had a 40-year marriage. And Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, rahimahullah, he cried. And his disciples said, Imam, you're crying? He said, I'm crying because me and my wife never had an argument, not a single argument in 40 years. And that's shocking, because if you know any married couple, it's very, very, very difficult to live 40 years. Forget 40 years. It's very difficult to live even 40 months or 40 days without having an argument or some kind of thing. So they said, how is that possible? And he explained. He said, me and my wife, when we got married, we made a vow to each other. We said, whenever I get angry and I'm saying things to you that you don't like, and I'm acting and behaving in a way that you don't appreciate, then just you're going to stay quiet. You're going to stay quiet, you're going to stay quiet, you're not going to say a single word, you're not going to reply to the things that I say until I've calmed down. When I calm down, then we're going to speak to each other. She made the same vow about herself, that whenever I get, I start saying things to you that you don't like, and I flare up, and I'm, got these emotions and so on going on inside me, and I'm saying things to you that are horrible, and you find them, uneasy to listen to, you're going to stay quiet until I've calmed down. When I calm down, then we're going to speak to one another. That's how they avoided arguments in a 40-year period. This is life, guys. This is not a quick in our whatever Majnun Layla thing. No, this is a real world. Okay, so let's leave it at that. I don't know how much time we've got. I think time is over.